Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the regional division of Himalayas. Then we'll proceed on to the next part, that is Northern Plains. What we have done earlier is how Himalayas were formed and the three ranges of Himalayas from north to south. That is the northernmost range Himadri. Below Himadri we have done Himachal, and below Himachal we have done Shivaliks and their features. We have also done that Himalayas are called as Purvanchal hills in the eastern part of India, and its features also we have done. Today we are going to do another division of Himalayas from west to east, that is from river Indus to river Brahmaputra. In the first class or the slide, I have shown you that the Himalayas, they stretch from the river Indus, which is in the west, to river Brahmaputra, which is in the east. So today we are going to do the regional division of Himalayas from west to east, which are demarcated by certain rivers. Let us do the first one, that is Punjab Himalayas, which are also locally known as Kashmir and Himachal Himalayas. They are from west to east, which lie between river Indus and river Satluj. Children, at the end of the chapter, I will show you all these rivers on the map. Okay, so these rivers, that is between river Indus, which is flowing in the in the Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan, and river Satluj, which is going through the Punjab. Between these two rivers, whatever the Himalayas are there, they are called as Punjab Himalayas. Then the second one we have Kumaon Himalayas, which lie between river Satluj and Kali. River Kali flows through Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and then Uttar Pradesh it flows through. So these the from the river Satluj to river Kali, whatever Himalayas are there, they are called as Kumaon Himalayas. Third, Nepal Himalayas, that is from the river Kali and Tista. Kali river, I have told you, it flows through Uttar Pradesh, and Tista river, it flows through Sikkim. It flows through Sikkim and then enters into Bangladesh and then the sea. So from river Kali to Tista, the Himalayas which are there, they are called as Nepal Himalayas. From river Tista, that is from Sikkim to Arunachal Pradesh, that is the river flowing here is Dihang river. Now Dihang is, children, another name for river Brahmaputra. River Brahmaputra in Arunachal Pradesh, when it enters into Arunachal Pradesh in India, it is called as Dihang. Dihang is a name of a district in Arunachal Pradesh. So they call this river as Dihang river. So from river Tista to river Dihang, the Himalayas which are present, they are called as Assam Himalayas. So now that is all about the Himalayas, children. I hope you have followed this, because now we are going to the start with the next topic, and the next topic is you have northern plains. Today we are going to do only northern plains. Then the next class we'll do peninsular plateau, then proceed towards the coastal plains and then the Indian desert. So we go to the that is the northern plains today. You can see here, children, there is a map also I have shown where you can see the stretch of the northern plains. Where are northern plains over there? In which all states you can see the northern plains? For example, you can see the northern plains in Punjab, in Haryana, in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, part of even the Chhattisgarh, part of Jharkhand, then West Bengal, and part of Assam. Also, we can see some of the plains, that is the northern plains also. So let us do the features of these northern plains, children. Northern plains are formed of alluvium. First of all, how they are formed of? They are formed by the deposition of the sediments which are brought down by the rivers. Which rivers have brought down the sediments? They are river Indus, river Ganga, and river Brahmaputra. These three rivers, they have deposited their sediments flowing from the Himalayas to the foothills of the Himalayas. They deposited. When they deposited these sediments for millions of years, after that a land is formed which is called as a plain land, which is named as the northern plains. So these lands are very fertile alluvial plains formed by three river systems of India: Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra, along with its tributaries. They are formed by deposition of sediments brought down by the rivers over millions of years ago. What is the area of this? That is, if you see the northern plains in the map from west to east, what is the total area it covers is 7 lakh square kilometers, and west to east it is 2400 kilometers long. Again I am repeating, from west to east it is 2400 kilometers long, and from north to south it is 240 kilometers broad. And here we are coming with a very important feature of northern plains. Northern plains are very much populated. We can also call it as densely populated. So question is asked that why northern plains are densely populated. Answer is very simple. Answer is, in northern plains we have rich soil cover, that is alluvial soil. Children, we say that alluvial soil is a very fertile soil. So that is why, because it is a fertile soil, it supports large amount of agriculture in the northern plains. That is why it is, or northern plains is also called as granary of India. That is the storehouse of the grains. So it is also called as granary of India. So we are going back to the point. It has rich soil cover, that is alluvial soil, adequate water supply. We can see that there are so many rivers which are flowing into the northern plains. Especially we can see river Ganga, which is flowing into the northern plains. Even river Brahmaputra, which is flowing through the northern plains and its tributaries. So it is having a large amount of water supply, which again supports a large amount of agriculture. Then northern plains also have favorable climate, which is not very harsh. Favorable climate means it is not a harsh climate. It is favorable for the people who are living there. It is favorable for growing the agricultural crops. That is why it is agriculturally productive part of India. So northern plains are very important for growing up of the crops, because it contains alluvial soil, which is very fertile soil. It has adequate water supply and also favorable climate. So it is densely populated. Densely means, children, it is thickly populated. So that is your features of the northern plains. And we come to the next part. Now divisions of the northern plains. I have told you just now that northern plains are formed by three river systems. They are Indus Plains, Brahmaputra Plains, and Ganga Plains. So let us do first one, Indus Plains. What are these Indus Plains? That is, the plain which is formed by river Indus, called as Indus Plain. They have another name, children. They are also called as Punjab Plains. That means the plains which you see in Punjab, those plains are also called as Indus Plains or Punjab Plains because they are formed by river Indus and its tributaries. What are the five important tributaries of river Indus? They are Ravi, Beas, Chenab, Jhelum and Satluj. These five rivers have formed the Punjab Plains, and a large amount of Punjab Plains today they lie in Pakistan, because we all know that India got divided into India and Pakistan, and a large part of Punjab went into the Pakistan. So a larger part of Punjab Plains is in the Pakistan. And not only this, we have a small term here which you can see even in your book also it is there. There is a term called as Dwab. D-O-A-B, Dwab. Children, do. Do means two. You know that it is a Hindi term. So do means two. Ab means water. So this section of Punjab plain is dominated by Dwabs. That means a plain where more than two rivers drain the land. A plain which is drained by more than two rivers, or more than two rivers flow in a plain, that particular plain. So that place is called as the Dwab. D-O-A-B, Dwab. Now we come to the next one, that is the Brahmaputra plains. Again, Brahmaputra plains, in the first part I have shown you where it flows. It enters into India from Arunachal Pradesh, passes through Assam, and then enters into Bangladesh, and then enters into Bay of Bengal. So, Brahmaputra plains are mainly located in the Assam. So, the narrow plains drained by river Brahmaputra, they lie in Assam or called as Brahmaputra plains. We come to the third one, that is the Ganga plains, children. These Ganga plains, they are mainly formed by river Ganga and its very important tributaries. They are Yamuna, Ghagra, Gandak, etc. There are many tributaries of river Ganga. They also extend, this Ganga plain extends between river Tista and Ghaggar rivers. There are two tributaries of river Ganga, that is river Tista and river Ghaggar. So between these, the plains which are there between these, it is called as Ganga plains. So which all states are covered in the Ganga plains? It is Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi, Bihar, West Bengal and part of Jharkhand. These all states are part of the Ganga plains. Okay, so we continue with the further northern plains. Other than the division which we have done, the presently division which we have done, it is from west to east. That is based on the river systems. We have done Indus river system, Punjab plains they are called as. Then we have done Brahmaputra plains where the river Brahmaputra is flowing in the east, and in the middle part of the northern plains it is called as the Ganga plain. So the division which we have done is from west to east. Now we are going to do another division of northern plains, children, that is on the basis of variation of relief. This division is mainly from north to south. This division is mainly from north to south. So, on the basis of variation of relief, we have four divisions of these northern plains. They are called as Khadar. You might have heard of these terms. Khadar, Bhabar, Bhangar and Terai. So let's do all of them, children. So, especially just below the Shiva lakes, we have just below the Shiva lakes, that is the third range of the Himalayas or the southernmost range of the Himalayas, just below the Shiva lakes, we have a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 kilometers, which is called as Bhabar. That means just below the Shiva lakes, the 8 to 16 kilometers of the stretch, that is in width, I am talking about 8 to 16 kilometers width below the Shiva lakes, that is called as Bhabar. Here, the rivers after descending down from the mountains deposit pebbles. The rivers which are flowing from the Himalayas, they deposit pebbles over here. Now, what are pebbles? It is not fine soil, children. Pebbles means granules, which you even call it as kankad in Hindi. So that pebbles or the small granules are deposited over there. So in this, the streams in this belt seem to disappear. So what happens to the rivers? They are flowing, but they are flowing under the bed of these pebbles. So they don't appear over there. You can't see them because they are flowing, but they are flowing under these pebbles. So that is the belt Bhabar. Now just below the south of Bhabar, as we further come down below the south of Bhabar, there is a region called as Terai. You know, children, Terai is also a Hindi term. Terai means wet, a region which is wet, swampy and marshy. Swampy and marshy means, in Hindi I'll use the term this, which you call it as daldal. So wet, swampy, marshy region Terai is. It is located to the south of Bhabar belt where the streams re-emerge. Here the soil becomes, the pebbles becomes little fine over there, because of which the streams, that is the rivers, appear. You can see the rivers over here. This region is, children, very thickly forested area once upon a time. Not now, but once upon a time it was thickly forested area and it contained large amount of flora and fauna. That is a large amount of plant and wildlife, animal kingdom. But there were, all these forests were cleared. There was large amount of deforestation taken place in this region. Now, why the deforestation has taken place? Because of the migrants who came from Pakistan. When India got divided, many migrants, they came from Pakistan and they settled in this region Terai. So for their settlements, they cleared these forests. So that is how today Terai is not that much thickly forested area. And you have one of the very important national park here, which is called as Dudhwa National Park in Uttar Pradesh. You have Dudhwa National Park in Uttar Pradesh, which is located in this Terai region. We come to the next slide over there, that is Bhangar and Khadar. Now we have the Bhangar. Children, there are two, we call it as two types of alluvial soils. There are two types of alluvial soils. They are called as Bhangar and Khadar soils. So what is Bhangar? It is also a part of the alluvial soil, but Bhangar is an area which is not very fertile because it is called as older alluvial soil. You know, children, when the rivers flow, it is a continuous process and they keep depositing these sediments. And so it's a continuous process. So as and when the soil cover keep on renewing itself, it keeps on changing. So the soil which is deposited earlier, that automatically becomes the old soil. So the new soil will be deposited on the top. That automatically becomes the Khadar soil. So that is the main difference. So Bhangar is older alluvial. It is made of older alluvial soil and it lies above the floodplain. That is, when a plain is formed due to the floods. We will do this also in the map work when I'll show you how the floodplains are formed. So in the floodplains area, that the second layer, the topmost layer, we call it as the Khadar. In that way also you can understand. The topmost layer is called as the Khadar and just below that we call it as the Bhangar in the alluvium region. Then the soil is not very fertile because it contains calcareous deposits which are called as kankar. I told you what is the meaning of kankar. Very minute small pebbles. They are called as kankar. So soil is not fertile. It doesn't support much of the agricultural crops, children. So the next soil we are doing is khadar soil, which is new younger deposits of the floodplains. That is the new alluvial soil khadar is. And it is located at the lower river valley, mouth of the river. They are very fertile and they get renewed by annual floods. That is what I told you. They keep on renewing itself because the new soil is deposited. And since the other soil is very fertile soil, it supports a large amount of cultivation. So these areas where Khadar soil is there, it is intensively cultivated. Intensively means every bit of land is cultivated by using modern farming